And so we'll kick it off with Lily is going to be talking about the PINVAL project. You may have remember, I think it was in the Project Scoping Solve Summer Academy. We heard from Rob from Cook County, and he kind of talked about the project a little bit. So I guess without further ado, I'll hand it off to you, Lily, and then afterwards we'll hear from Wiebke about the InfoNavi project.
Thanks, Andrew. Hi, everyone. I'm a data scientist on the Solve PINVAL project, and I'm representing our lovely team pictured here. You might recognize Robert Ross, our partner, Chief Data Officer of the Cook County Assessor's Office, who has appeared in previous Solve Academies, our awesome project manager, Maria, who is a DSSG alum, and then the team also consists of 3 data scientist volunteers, Ryan, Italo, and myself. Just a real quick refresher on what this project is about. The Cook County Assessor's Office, which is in Illinois and covers much of Chicago, is tasked with assessing the market value of 1.5 million homes. So as part of Illinois law, property owners have the opportunity to appeal that assessment. And something that's worth stating here that wasn't intuitive to me as a non-homeowner and might be helpful for other non-homeowners on this call is that appeals are always to lower the value of the assessment, because that directly affects the amount that the property owner has to pay in taxes. And it doesn't affect the actual sale price of the home. So if you reduce your assessment by $30,000, then that doesn't mean that later you can't sell your home for $30,000 less. The appeal rate of the office is currently 40 to 60%, compared to the average county in the US, which has an appeal rate of around 10%, which gets me to, I think, the crux of some of the issues that we're trying to address here with this project, which is that the quantity of appeals does not reflect the accuracy of the model. The easiest way to do analysis on the accuracy of the model is to look at a sales price and then look at the model prediction for that year of that sales price. And currently it is nowhere close to that 40 to 60% appeal number, which is an indication of unfairness. An excess of appeals creates a significant burden that's put on lower income property owners who don't have the resources like hiring a appeals lawyer or the time to sort through the system. And that results in lower income property owners being disproportionately taxed higher relative to their property wealth. And the third problem, which relates specifically to bias and fairness, is that the probability of winning an appeal should be equal across income classes. However, that is currently not the case. Higher income households are much more likely to win their appeals and a much greater percent reduction. So the overall goal of PINVAL for the office is to increase that true positive rate, by which I mean reduce the number of what Robert calls frivolous appeals and maintain or increase the number of meaningful appeals. Our Solve goal was to take a look at their current app that they've developed to assist internal analysts and make that accessible for property owners to understand their assessment as a transparency tool. So pictured on the left is their current version of the app. And the first thing that we did in the design process over the past few weeks was to explore the data and try to tell if that property was fair. We also started to define success within the parameters available, by which I mean ideal metrics might be something closer to that true positive rate that I talked about. It could be engagement of the app, number of users, clicks, etc. It could also have to do with more in-depth analysis of fairness. However, because over the course of 10 weeks, while we're developing the app, it would be much further along the line before this app could be deployed due to processes of the office, we wanted to also define some short-term measures for us to hold ourselves accountable. Something that we discussed and agreed on was to show, the existing version of the app to users, and then later show our improved version and hopefully see some incremental improvements. We conducted user interviews. They were 30 minutes with property owners sourced by the Cook County Assessor's Office, which was a little bit of a slower process, but really intriguing and really fun to talk to actual constituents. Now I'm just gonna quickly share with you all the brainstorm process we went through and the conclusions we came across. We did it really quickly and remotely together in a Google Doc. We first listed out all the goals from the interviews and from our own understanding of what we thought PINVAL should be. Then we sort of organized the goals. Then we identified gaps. And then we created this table, which we eventually presented to the partner, which consists of goals for PINVAL, the current status and abilities of the app, and then proposed changes. We then last week worked with the partner to prioritize those changes, and this week we'll be working on developing those features.
Lily, I have one question before we move on. So when we were talking about this in the project scoping phase, and Rob was on, we had people who work in other county assessor's office asking about how they could also use the tool. Is that something you guys are working towards, about making it open source and sharing all the development work you did on it?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we've discussed with Rob, and it's on the top of our minds. Currently, the tool and all the code is available in GitLab publicly for other assessor's office. They also have a package, our package that they created, if other assessor's offices want to leverage parts of their model. And yeah, the app will eventually be deployed for the general public.
That's amazing. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, exciting.
Thank you so much. Please, everyone, if you have any more questions for Lily and team, throw them in the chat or the Q&A.
Or the Q&A.
Just throw them somewhere.
We'll get to them.
Great to hear from you.